Hey, it's Shaves, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week from the 4th of August to the 8th of August. It's a shorter week because I recorded last week's digest on a Wednesday, and now I need to do it on a Monday, so it's a shorter week overall, so apologize for that, I guess. Anyway, we're going to go over some videos I thought were decent. Yeah, pretty good. This first one's from Aleczandxr. Berserk's art is Miura's language. And you know, when I saw this video come up, I was just like, is he gonna have some takes about the latest chapter and how, you know, it's not the same artist anymore. You know, Miura's moved, passed away. And with these latest chapters, perhaps, or something. There's no commentary on that. It really is just sort of Aleczandxr kind of making up for what he sees as a bit of a, not disservice, I guess, but a gap in his discussion of Berserk so far, which has just been the artistry that Miura has in his manga and describing the art and how it makes him feel. And he admits that this is kind of out of his wheelhouse, and that's interesting and fair. It did really occur to me, actually, that like you haven't really talked that much in the way of presentation and visuals. In such a visual medium. It's always about the writing with your channel. But it is your kind of first crack, at least self-admitted, at art analysis, and I enjoyed it. It's nice. I do think it's a little cyclical and kind of saying the same things a couple of times and just kind of repeating the same points. Just like how I did just now when I'm unscripted. I don't know if you're unscripted or not for these. I assume you're not, because you have a particular way of words, and it sounds in a way that you've written them. At least it comes off that way to me, perhaps. But no, I do like overall what you have to say about the art, and I like how minimalist the video ultimately was, where it's just Skyrim footage and the manga panels very, very full frame almost, and some of the panels are cut individually of just like I just want to show up this one panel, which isn't my favorite personally. I just have a nitpick personal preference that I've developed recently when it comes to making videos. If I'm making like a manga thing, I've obviously did this in my videos in the past, but like upon reflection of it, I really like the beauty of like presenting an entire page as it is, as it's shown, and it spreads is obviously a spread, but showing the full page, you know, because that's the whole art piece that the mangaka has made. You know, it's not just this one panel in isolation. And again, that's not a criticism of the video or anything. It's just something I noticed where I'm like, yeah, I actually would prefer if he showed the whole page here, even though he's specifically trying to focus on this particular image or something. Again, not a big deal. But yeah, I admired how simple and minimalist this was on a visual front and a video craft front, because I have this fucking problem with with like going, you know, trying too hard with the visuals on some of these things, and it stifles me sometimes. I think it was making me think about it, where it's like I do feel stifled by this crazy demand that I have for my videos in terms of its presentation, how they look, for some of them obviously, but like I wish I could have that ability and confidence, I guess, carrying it with what you have to say and the particular things you're showing, and not necessarily how you're showing it. Not that it was like lackluster in any way, it was just in a way that was like very efficient and just like doesn't have any frills on it, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of refreshing, dang. But it works out also. But yeah, I'm sorry I have too much else to say beyond that. Again, because I think it's just like I like the things you're saying about the solidarity and like how it makes you feel. That sort of thing is what I like hearing about, and not so much like the big lofty analysis type of thing. I think it was good that you resorted to that of like, how does it make you, what emotions does it elicit within you. I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah, it was good. It was a nice time. I really appreciated you taking a crack at this, and I hope you try for more of these. Perhaps, I don't know if the other media has done this for you in the same way. Maybe Vagabond, I don't know. But hard to deny about Miura's talent here. So understandable that you'd want to dip your toe into uncharted territory with something so incredible. Like, yeah. At last, funebure has uploaded another video. Komi-san wants to hurt me. Eyes without a face. And I gotta admit, this one, I didn't really get the idea of it, or like, where's this going? I think it's just kind of talking about Komi-san generally and riffing on it, and kind of like, or just like making some jokes, and it kind of being able to express himself, I think, is kind of the main objectives of this video, at least, or just a lot of his videos, which I love. I love that. You know, I'm all for it, really. It doesn't like, it's not in the same kind of informative, purely entertaining in a concocted way. It's a way that's just sort of like, I love his style. I love his delivery, his humor, his creativity in terms of the things that he's drawing, and the way he's framing some of these ideas is always really exciting and interesting. But, you know, and this was definitely one where, like, I wasn't on board, not in a way that I didn't, not like saying I disliked it. I'm saying I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I can't really follow it. But it's stuff that I just like the craft on display, really. It's a pure craft thing, which I really enjoy. He's definitely one of the better that we have that's doing it. But it's understandable that he doesn't do them as often, and not as, you know, because YouTube's not being kind, I guess. It is what it is. But yeah, love the stuff here. It's great seeing another video for him, and, you know, taking your time, do whatever you want. You know, it's great seeing creators like that pop up every so often, keeping tabs on it. It's awesome. Believe this is the first time I'm talking about ibi.mp4, and he had a particular way of saying his username, so I apologize. I forget what it was. It was in the video. The pain of waiting on anime. And, you know, the thing that I wanted to take away from communicate with this is the style here, and the things that he's given out with, like the Persona 4 dialogue boxes and some of the filters and things like that, and his overall delivery. I also really like at the end, there's kind of like this whole minute or 2 minutes almost of like just talking about how his life is currently, of like, I attended this concert and got COVID or whatever, and just kind of like a life check almost. And I don't know, I like that very personable, down to earth, like, community, like, I'm just making videos with my boys that also make videos, and I'm in close contact with them. And I don't know, it just seems like very small in a way that's like really comfy, I guess. I don't know, it was just really endearing, and I liked it a lot. Substance wise, it's like it is kind of one of those like general anime videos. There's kind of like this vague, nebulous idea that could have had some statistics or like more data points, I guess, to back up his claims. But there were certain things that were just sort of like very wishy-washy almost in terms of the substance, I guess. Like, I guess the fact is, he kind of mentions how it's like, yeah, fans are super excited for Devils of Part-Timer Season 2 after 9 years. And then I'm like, yeah, does anyone talk about how crap it looks? or like Classroom of the Elite, I literally just saw a tweet today showing a screen cap where like there's like a scene of them running, and one of the characters is accidentally overlaid on top of the other, like an animation error. And it's like, yep, no, this is what we got. Not to knock on it entirely. I just think there's more to this picture, I guess, where the multi-season thing is nice because there's a little more likelihood that you get another season of something. But at the same time, do you get the same staff as you did the first season? One Punch Man is a very prominent example of that, if not the most famous at this point, of what, if you know, the difference between 2 seasons, and it's all a matter of the staff and who has it and stuff like that. The him mentioning this, like, kind of clowning on Attack on Titan final season having multiple names, like Part 2 and it's still not over and shit like that, but it's preferable to the wait between season 1 and season 2. There was a reason for that. For Attack on Titan, it was because Wit Studio, this is what I learned from Canipa's video, Wit Studio had planned other projects besides Attack on Titan. They weren't really planning on, they weren't really looking to be the Attack on Titan studio. but Attack on Titan got so astronomically popular that they did have to they really had to make a season 2 and so on. But then they had projects lined up already. They didn't have the people for it. And so what they did was kind of substitute those with, like, all right, let's release these compilation movies. Let's release Attack on Titan Junior High in collaboration with Ygg, just to keep Attack on Titan in the public consciousness a little bit. And then for finally season 2 can come out. Well, it's, on our schedule. And like that whole scheduling thing is super huge. Like, projects are being made and announced like closer to when they actually are released, so it's fresh enough in the public mind. But they're being made long before we even hear about them. There are some productions that the entire show is finished before the first episode airs, like Mob Psycho 100. The third season, I believe, is like that. This upcoming one, And you think about like Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War. That was announced a while ago before we got any PV for it, and we're still waiting a little bit more. So how much they've been working on that one kind of maybe dictates that quality. I don't know. There's just more nuance to be had with this one, I think. And it was weird, it's like, oh, I feel like a boomer. I feel like this really ancient person with like no game, no life. Like, yeah. Can you imagine? And I don't know. It didn't seem to have the cognition of anything before the year 2000. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't really account for, I don't know, there's just certain things that were being said, like even mediocre long-running shows, and they show Boruto, and it's kind of just like gleaned over. But you think even like this idea of waiting on anime, he focuses primarily on manga adaptations, and this dynamic of like manga readers being like, oh, wait till they get to this part, and like, oh, you'll see, it's going to be really good, and kind of being hip before the thing actually comes out, almost. Which is interesting and fair. I liked his comparison and showing other YouTubers giving examples of, like, one guy talked about this with the case with music and like Frank Ocean, waiting on another album for him, and then another for like video games, I think. But yeah, anime has its own very distinct aesthetic, but it's not the full range really, I guess, because there's other. I guess it is pretty much just manga adaptations, but there is, what, like you said, No Game No Life, which is, I believe, a light novel, right? And there's other projects like that. I think each one's a case-by-case basis. I think there's just more nuance to be had about this one that I think could have been interesting, but it gave me those vibes of like anime YouTuber who has this vague general idea and just kind of write a script really quick, just kind of spewing his thoughts and not looking deeper, I guess. I've made those. I can't judge, But yeah, that was just my thoughts on that. I do like the overall like approachable and kind of fun visual aesthetic and his tone and delivery and everything, and the humor that's there. Substance wise, I can kind of take it or leave it, but yeah, it's fun. I'm gonna finally mention Ygg Studio doing her Vlogist. That's a name that rolls off the tongue, and no, it's good. Vlogist of she's recording a vlog, basically one take, classic, almost After Dark era, kind of just one take, and giving this idea. And this one's living in the franchise era that I wanted to talk about. And I just like the personable approach that she takes this with, of like how it relates to her life and how she's frankly been enjoying this sort of franchise type thing. It's a close friend, or a sense of familiarity and nostalgia. I don't think she uses the word nostalgia very much, at least I don't remember. But it's sort of like kind of treating it as a good thing. It's an interesting spin, because I think there is this growing cynicism. She cites the MCU in particular, but in general, I think that people are very fatigued by franchise content. Just not everybody. Just not most people, really. Like, because these are still fucking Top Gun Maverick. It just is like is almost going to be passing Avengers Endgame as the sixth or fifth highest grossing domestic film, or it might be Infinity War, I don't remember which one. Like all-time domestic grossing. Like, it's doing insanely well, and that's like a sequel to an 80s movie. Granted, there's a lot more to it, and there's certain circumstances and stuff. There's more nuance to this, but ultimately, we're not really that tired of franchise stuff yet. The way I think Twitter makes you kind of feel that way. We're just like, oh, ugh, we're done. We want some original IPs and celebrate the original IPs that come for sure. Just not most of them, because it's, you know, an increasing ecosystem and a very oversaturated media market of not, you know, everything's competing with everything. You know, I think it was like back in my day we had the radio, you know, but like they really did. They really just had books, and then they had radio, and that was kind of a new thing. And now we have the latest thing is kind of the short content with TikTok and stuff. But even YouTube, and it's literally all of these are compounded on one another over and over. But then each one keeps growing in size. So there's more movies coming out. There's more books coming out. There's more video games coming out. There's more YouTube coming out. God, YouTube. There's Twitch. It's oversaturated, you know. There's absolutely no way. So it's a completely different landscape. And so I think franchises, they end up acting almost, and I'm not necessarily saying if this is what Trixie was saying, but like they almost kind of act like islands of like familiar places instead of like this rock that's been uninhabited and kind of a new thing and it's uncharted territory. If it's a franchise, it's something big and expansive. Like I've been getting into One Piece this year. My roommate and I are on the Dressrosa arc, and guys, it's amazing. What the I was told all the time that watch out if you're watching Dressrosa in the anime, it's kind of bad. Ooh, that pacing. Ooh, I am 25 episodes deep. Maybe it gets worse later. Maybe. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's great. It's great. Oh my god. We can't stop. We actually have to watch more. Like we've sped past this week's episodes. We're gonna watch this week. We're catching up, and we're just gonna binge it. Dressrosa is like one of the favorite arcs that we're doing right now. What are you guys talking about? You fucking One Piece fans. Sorry, tangent. But that's like an exciting thing, you know. And there's it's a long series, and it's a big ongoing franchise too, you know. It's something that's active and happening right now. And so you could say the same sort of similar thing with something that, you know, seeing Star Wars putting out new media and stuff, despite like, you know, the fatigue of it, the burnout perhaps. But then there's other things, you know, you make your own franchises and build off offshoots and stuff like that. I think franchises are good to compartmentalize, you know, and to like try to focus on certain things and try to find like a niche, you know, I don't know. It's like finding a niche almost, like saying I like video games or I like anime or something. You know, if there's niches within that niche, right? I don't know. I guess I'm making my own vlog of this. It's hard to say. But yeah, Trixie, I think, had a really good talk about this, very introspective and personal, which I really liked that angle. I also like kind of the angle visually of just kind of like the camera was moving every so often, which is kind of like, it looks like an unprofessional choice, but for a YouTube video, it actually kind of lends itself to some visual variety. If it's just this, it digests, right? Most people, I don't know if this is the case. I imagine people like kind of listen to it, right? Which is why for the longest time I had it as a podcast, and then it was such a pain in the ass to, on top of having to upload it and make the thumbnail and everything every single time, doing the podcast version as well was kind of a lot for me. So I stopped doing that. So I apologize for not being on the upkeep for that one. But I figure most people kind of listen to this because it's one static shot. There's not much to look at unless I'm making a reaction or something, and maybe they want to see my face when I'm making those remarks, you know. But I actually kind of like the occasional moving, and it didn't feel premeditated either. It was just sort of just an accidental kind of thing, and I don't know, I think it was interesting. I like the location too. Yeah. But, you know, I probably won't be able to comment that much on most of these vlogs and stuff. I do enjoy listening to them and checking them out. I'm sorry I didn't check out the Eureka 7 videos yet. I don't know why. You know what? I'm waiting for them all to come out. That's my excuse. I'm waiting for them all to come out. And also, I just, why didn't I talk about more of like anime-centric one, like your favorite anime from 2020, 2021? I don't know. this is just the one that I was most interested in. And I thought, I was like, that's cool. I kind of like, that's a neat idea. Anyway, yeah, I'm enjoying Vlogust. It's a good time. It does roll off the tongue, but more than I think about, more than I say it. Yeah, it works out. It's a good title. Anyway, yeah, good stuff. Hey, ProfessorViral, existing only to exist. I gotta tell you, like, the title thumb and the length of this video, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be one of those where, like, I'm just in it for the vibes. I'm just in it for, like, the aesthetic of talking about philosophy, and not so much like the meat of it. But what I will say, what I liked about this is two things. I liked the variety of shows that you're talking about here. It's Ava, but it's also Ergo Proxy, Wonder Egg for a minute or two, Black Lagoon, of course, because you've talked about it so much, and it's your wheelhouse. So that kind of makes sense, and it's nice to see that you have the confidence to kind of bring that up again. And because for me personally, right, I always get self-conscious about, like, I don't want to talk about the same couple shows too often, right? I'll be known as that guy. That's just like a irrational fear or superstition that I hold. But at the same time, I've talked about Jill like 5 times because, you know, it's my all-time favorite. I can have one. No, but that was just, you know, I always wanted, like, if I'm going to talk about it, this is going to be it, sort of deal. And I'm sort of breaking that with my Naruto videos. It's going to be broken into 3, probably. I don't know yet. But, yeah, but, like, I appreciated that confidence to just, you know, let's talk about Black Lagoon again and more examples. Friggin', what are some other ones? It just, like, it just had some, suddenly Vinland Saga, in, like, the second half of the video. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And that was, you know, that was nice. Again, a lot of the concepts feel so abstract and over my head that it was just really, it wasn't, like, the easiest to grab onto in the same way. Like, I watch a lot of, like, the BreadTube stuff, like PhilosophyTube and ContraPoints, but a lot of those videos, it really ends up being the presentation and the way it's communicated. The analogies they choose, their choice of visuals, but even their humor and their style and performance in the video, right? And I liked that the other component that I liked from this video in particular is the even balance of on-camera presence and anime footage. I think there was that kept the kind of a visual variety to it that kind of kept it engaging, I guess. I enjoyed that part as well. Again, yeah, sorry I can't comment too much on the physical meat of it, I guess. It's just, it wasn't something that I'm able to chew on all that well. I will say it was somewhere in, like, the 32-minute mark, perhaps, where I was starting to be like, you could have probably ended it right here, and you're still going. Okay. You know, it does feel a little overlong, but, you know, it's a complicated subject, and there's a lot of examples to go through. So the props, you know, I fully understand the length. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that was just my thoughts on it. It is not too much, of course, but yeah, I did enjoy the video. Watched all the way through. Yeah, it's a good time. Crunchyroll strikes again. Buys Right Stuff from Glass Reflection. I guess I don't have too much to say about this one. It's another of his kind of, like, just go on camera and talk about the current happenings in the anime industry, which some of the I've noticed a couple of YouTubers have kind of started leaning on that, because I don't know if they've run out of ideas or not. not to, like, throw shade on Tristan or anything, but it's not like other YouTubers where I can kind of get a dedicated case of their roadmap. Whereas there's some YouTubers in this case where it's like, oh, I can make a video because I have a sponsor that needs a video out. You know what I mean? I get those vibes a little bit, but I still like seeing him on camera and him talking about these things and not just like a tweet or something. Especially kind of big news like this of Right Stuff being bought out by Crunchyroll, which is exciting, interesting. And I say exciting at first because it's just a shakeup that's like, I don't know. It's sort of just like something happening. It's not the status quo. It's surprising. It's yeah, I guess it's exciting in a neutral way, right? Not in just like, oh boy, yay, they did it. They bought, like, I'm not like happy. I'm just more like, ooh, quite the moves. Interesting, right? I think it's just like another chapter in the saga that is localization of anime in the United States. It's like, that's where the story goes from here. Interesting. I guess interesting would be the more appropriate term than exciting, but it's such a big move and splashy move that I'm just like, ooh, all right. But I really like Tristan's analysis of this. Feels very thorough, exploring different ideas, being honest with his feelings about is this a good thing? He can't really feel it. It's like, I don't see how this is a good thing. And he's like he racked his brain for a positive. I mean, the positive I can think of is that this is going to be a heck of a lot better for worldwide distribution. At least I would hope so, because Sony Crunchyroll, they have bases all over the world. Crunchyroll is in all sorts of countries. And so if they have a distributor like this, and they can maybe inject it with more money, perhaps it can reach a broader audience. Because right now, to my knowledge, they really only deliver to the US and Canada, and that's great, but it's not everywhere, and maybe they could do something a little more broader than that. And also, it's just they're realizing that Tristan makes this kind of doomer comment that like they bought it just to shut it down and like end physical media, which like wouldn't happen. Like, what's the point of that? You're just shaking the nest, right? Because they can still sell physical media at conventions. What are you going to shut down all conventions next? What are you going to buy out all these other conventions and stop them too? So you're the only convention? Like, are you stupid? No, but like, super. No, I was thinking MF Doom, that one track. Anyway, no, what was I saying? I got distracted. But they can't shut down like physical media. That's ridiculous. I just thought, I was baffled that he even brought it up as an idea. It's like, no, dude, that's stupid. I get like you're concerned about that, sure, but like, no. Like, that, even if they don't, yes, Right Stuff is a great site, a fantastic site, and better than Amazon, but they're still Amazon. Like, Crunchyroll isn't going to stop physical media from existing, like, for anime, I definitely don't say, especially since I'm pretty sure this was, I don't know whether or not I should say it, because I'm pretty sure, well, because my boss tweeted about Kleckner, who started Right Stuff and owns it and sold it. He deserves a retirement. He deserves to sell his baby in a way that like he's able to retire, because like, he is a hardworking dude. And this isn't my words. This is him, that my boss tweeted publicly and stuff. And the fact that he's getting like death threats and stuff from people that are upset with him doing this move, he has all the right in the world to do that. And he shouldn't be criticized for it. And you shouldn't be angry at him, especially because, it's his life, and he dedicated a lot of his life and time and energy to this community and making it as good as it is, so he deserves to reap the benefits to that. I don't see what it's fans being fans, I guess. But what was I thinking? Yeah, but like, that was so stupid to me. I was like, no, they're not gonna do that. If anything, I think that it means that they are showing an interest and an investment in physical media. It's showing that, like, because Crunchyroll, they've never done anything like that. They've done a couple. They're not great at it, and they've ended up having to send some of their licenses to Discotech, and so we've put some of their titles on physical media. But if they have somebody who's like Knows Me Entertainment, who's done this before very, very well, if they just kind of teach them their ways and make it better, and with the money that they have and the resources they have, just expand it and do even more, that's a great thing. I don't know. I see it as a kind of an exciting thing, I guess in a positive, yes. I don't know. I can understand being cynical about it and being like, concerned with the verticalization and how, but like pushing competition or something. We'll see if that happens. And I think the anime community and industry at large is savvy enough and attuned enough, at least, to recognize that and spend their money accordingly. I think if they make shitty moves, if they play shitty games, win shitty prizes, I don't know. I don't see them making a dumb move here. I think this is exciting. I think I don't know. I can understand being cynical about it, but but that's not to disagree or anything with Tristan. I just think I really appreciated the discourse and him talking about and encompassing all of that. It's great. Oakley Dokley. Now when I thought were the best videos of the week, I really enjoyed. It was like that's a good one. And this first one's from Daniel Santos, Finding Myself in Scott Pilgrim. Really great job here. Analyzing mostly the graphic novel, saying he's going to talk about the movie, but doesn't really talk about the movie. No, not that much, all things considered. It's pretty much just the 6-volume graphic novel. And the big cool thing he's doing here is really injecting his personal life into this and giving more personal detail that he says might be a little TMI. I didn't find it that discomforting. I think the way you communicated that ended up being in such a way that you can understand where you're coming from. It's oh, I'm an asshole, without it being giving away too much. I think you were really tasteful there. Also, shout outs to Atmos Fabula. I went to make sure I checked because I saw the credits at the end. I'm oh yeah, an editor. Because the editing in this is impressive. It's similar. It's a very reliable kind of almost repetitive, because a lot of panels end up being used more than once because he's kind of talking about similar scenes. So I get it can be kind of hard to give some visual variety, but he is able to give the visual variety with it's the same panels, but they're kind of oriented in a different way. But all of them are moving and not constantly, but in a way that there's a ton of these transitions and moving them in and out the frame and stuff like that. And I remember making those when I was doing my Berserk video, and maybe I did it the wrong way. Maybe I did it in a really inefficient way, but God, it was a pain in the ass. I probably didn't have assets or something. I didn't make that video in an economic way at all. I kind of reinvented the wheel every fucking transition, every single set piece that I did. I kind of just reinvented the wheel. Assets are your friend. But I really like the visuals with this one, and it felt very consistent and followable and polished and really good. I just thought it was a really solid overall video. I got sorry, not too much to say about it. So it's always the best ones that I have the least to say. Always. But this one really had a lot of really good analysis, and again, the personal stuff was fantastic. Yeah, loved it. It's great.
And lastly, I really wanted to shout out Account Suin for her Gundam Hathaway video, why Gundam Hathaway is the best Gundam movie so far. And it's not like she's making a objective argument in terms of it's better than F91 for these reasons, it's better than Char, it's better than all these other movies. It's kind of giving her updated thoughts on Gundam, I guess, in terms of just not overall thoughts. It's just I liked how she contextualized her enjoyment and excitement out of this movie after seeing kind of the disappointment in her being disappointed by IBO, and then Twilight Access, and then NT Narrative. Just I was kind of expecting to be back in a lull period, but then this movie just completely blew away her expectations, and I think she was able to articulate it really, really well, precisely why this is a great movie. Because I'd heard good things about it, I guess, but it was sort of in a way that especially from such a big long-time Gundam fan, I think was really what was refreshing about it. I really like her perspective on some of the complaints that I had never heard of. I didn't hear about how dark the movie was, not graphically, but visually you can't see what's going on a lot of the time. And she's describing how harrowing that actually is, and the reason they're doing that, and I'm oh, that's and her showing that, and
looks like a black screen for a lot of it, for that part of her video. But I was just picturing like watching this movie in like a dark theater, or like at least my room without any lights. And so I was like, oh God, this is terrifying, because it has that fear of not being able to see anything, and like knowing things could kill you in any instant. That scene sounds really effective, and I had not heard about. I had seen clips of it, but I didn't know that was the context. I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. She has just this great sense of style with the editing and the transitions and the polish here. It's all really great video craft on display. I really liked the cutaways to the movie using the dub. It was so seamless. And then like using the subs for the TV show and stuff like that, I think was a really good contrast. A little bit of manga action, actually. She was able to, it's like not translated, I guess, so she was able to recreate it and describe some of the scenes to fill in some gaps in terms of Bright Noah's relationship with his son, the main character here, Hathaway, which is really interesting. As someone I've only seen 79 Zeta and Char's Counterattack, but didn't really like Char's Counterattack. But I didn't really, it was because I cared more about Amuro and Char than I cared about any new characters, including Hathaway Noah here, who is in that movie. But it was sort of like, I don't even care about this character sort of deal. But now that I have that context, and that this trilogy, this is what it does with that character, and I really like the point she makes there. It just got me really excited to watch those series again. I was planning to anyway, as I haven't seen Double Zeta yet, and I haven't seen Victory. I was looking forward to. I was just thinking about it today, actually, because I happened to play the Zabungle insert song "Hey You" for when I was taking a shower this morning. Maybe TMI, but I just had Tomino on the brain, and this guy's got me excited to watch all his stuff again, Gundam wise. And for Double Zeta, Victory, and hopefully Reconquista at the end of it, I want the movies in Reconquista to be the last Tomino thing I see, because it's probably the last thing he'll make. Maybe there's one more, but that might be it. Anyway, yeah, but I just love this video. It was really great. Really made me want to watch the movie, even though I think I was waiting for, again, when I rewatch these other series again, but also for like when they make the other two, because it's the first of a trilogy. So I might wait for like the other two movies to be made. But yeah, this is a great video. Loved it. Yeah, that'll do it for this installment of AniTube Digest. Thank you very much for watching. You guys are great. You have a great week. Yo, peace.